When Operations Director Marcus Sullivan told me I was being terminated for persistent attitude problems and inability to work within established frameworks, I simply nodded and cleared out my desk. I didn't argue, didn't plead my case, didn't even mention the 3 patents pending under my name, or the revolutionary algorithm that would eventually transform the entire fintech industry. 4 years later, I walked into that same conference room as the majority shareholder and incoming CEO of Nexus Financial Technologies, watching Marcus's face drain of color as he realized his former subordinate now controlled his career, his salary, and quite possibly his future in the industry he thought he understood. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if the story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. Dr. Sophia Chen had always possessed an uncomfortably precise way of identifying problems that others preferred to ignore. Standing in the sterile bathroom of Nexus Financial Technologies' downtown Chicago headquarters on what would become her final morning as a senior software architect, she stared at her reflection in the mirror above the marble sink and recognized that her inability to remain quiet about systemic inefficiencies had finally reached its inevitable conclusion. The woman looking back at her wore a charcoal blazer over a crisp white shirt, her black hair pulled into a low bun that conveyed professionalism without sacrificing the subtle authority she had cultivated through 6 years of exceptional performance in one of the most competitive technology sectors in the world. The executive washroom on the 23rd floor had become her sanctuary during the increasingly tense months leading up to this moment. The polished chrome fixtures and imported Italian tile reflected an attention to detail and commitment to quality that Nexus Financial Technologies claimed to embody in all aspects of their business operations. Yet Sophia knew that beneath this carefully constructed facade of excellence lay fundamental problems that threatened not only the company's competitive position, but potentially the financial security of millions of customers who trusted their proprietary trading algorithms and risk assessment systems. Her doctoral degree in computational mathematics from MIT had prepared her for the technical challenges of developing sophisticated financial modeling systems. But nothing in her academic training had equipped her to navigate the complex political dynamics of a rapidly growing technology company, where innovation often conflicted with entrenched interests and established power structures. The algorithm she had designed during her tenure at Nexus had generated over $40 million in additional revenue through improved transaction processing efficiency and enhanced fraud detection capabilities. Yet her attempts to address critical security vulnerabilities and systemic inefficiencies had been consistently dismissed as unnecessarily disruptive to operational stability. Nexus Financial Technologies had been founded 8 years earlier by a group of former investment banking executives who recognized the transformative potential of artificial intelligence and machine learning in financial services. The company's headquarters occupied 4 floors of a prestigious downtown Chicago office building, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering panoramic views of Lake Michigan and the bustling financial district that served as the epicenter of Midwest commerce and innovation. The building itself represented everything that Nexus aspired to become: sophisticated, influential, and undeniably successful in ways that commanded respect from competitors, clients, and industry observers. The corporate culture at Nexus emphasized rapid growth, aggressive market expansion, and results-driven performance that had enabled the company to secure contracts with major banks, investment firms, and government agencies seeking cutting-edge financial technology solutions. Employee compensation packages included substantial stock options and performance bonuses that reflected the company's commitment to attracting and retaining exceptional talent in an industry where skilled professionals commanded premium salaries and comprehensive benefits.
The work environment featured open concept spaces designed to encourage collaboration, state-of-the-art computing equipment, and amenities that included an on-site fitness center, gourmet cafeteria, and meditation rooms that demonstrated leadership's recognition of the importance of work-life balance in maintaining productivity and employee satisfaction. Sophia had been recruited to Nexus directly from her postdoctoral research position at Stanford University, where her work on predictive modeling and algorithmic optimization had attracted attention from technology companies seeking to commercialize advanced mathematical concepts for practical business applications. The opportunity to join a dynamic startup environment while working on problems that could impact global financial systems had represented an ideal combination of intellectual challenge and real-world significance that aligned perfectly with her career aspirations and personal values regarding the application of technology for societal benefit. The initial years of her employment at Nexus had exceeded her expectations in terms of both professional satisfaction and career advancement opportunities. Her first major project involved developing algorithms for high-frequency trading systems that could process millions of transactions per second while maintaining accuracy and regulatory compliance across multiple international markets. The technical complexity of this work required deep understanding of financial markets, advanced mathematics principles, and computer science principles that few professionals possessed, making her contributions exceptionally valuable to the company's strategic objectives and competitive positioning. The success of her early projects had led to increasing responsibilities and recognition within the organization, including leadership roles in developing proprietary risk assessment systems that became core components of Nexus's service offerings to major financial institutions. Her team had grown from 3 junior developers to a department of 15 specialists working on diverse projects that ranged from cryptocurrency trading platforms to regulatory compliance systems for community banks seeking to modernize their operations without compromising security or customer service quality. The recognition of her technical capabilities had been accompanied by financial rewards that reflected her contributions to company growth and profitability. Her salary had increased by 70% during her first 4 years at Nexus, supplemented by stock options that had appreciated significantly as the company's valuation increased through successful client acquisitions and strategic partnerships with established financial services organizations.
The combination of professional challenge, financial reward, and collaborative work environment had created conditions where Sophia expected to build a long-term career while contributing to innovations that could reshape how financial institutions operated and served their customers. However, the rapid growth that had created exciting opportunities for technical innovation had also generated organizational challenges that threatened to undermine the foundational values and operational principles that had originally attracted Sophia to Nexus Financial Technologies. The pressure to meet aggressive revenue targets and maintain rapid market expansion had led to increasingly problematic decisions regarding system security, quality assurance, and ethical considerations that concerned her both as a technology professional and as someone who understood the potential consequences of inadequate safeguards in financial systems. The first significant warning sign had emerged during the development of a customer data analytics platform that collected and processed personal financial information from millions of users across multiple client institutions. Sophia had identified serious privacy vulnerabilities in the proposed system architecture that could potentially expose sensitive customer data to unauthorized access or manipulation by malicious actors. Her detailed technical analysis had demonstrated that these vulnerabilities could be exploited to access personal financial records, transaction histories, and account credentials that could facilitate identity theft, financial fraud, and other serious crimes affecting innocent consumers. The response to her security analysis from Marcus Sullivan, the director of operations who served as her immediate supervisor, had been dismissive and increasingly hostile as she persisted in raising concerns about potential risks and regulatory violations. Marcus had characterized her detailed technical documentation as unnecessarily alarmist and argued that implementing the security measures she recommended would significantly delay product launch schedules and increase development costs beyond acceptable limits for maintaining competitive advantage in rapidly evolving markets. Marcus Sullivan had joined Nexus Financial Technologies 2 years earlier after spending a decade in management positions at traditional financial services companies, where his experience had focused primarily on operational efficiency and cost control rather than technical innovation or system security. His appointment to oversee technology development operations had reflected the company's evolving priority of scaling existing services rather than pursuing cutting-edge research that might not generate immediate revenue returns. His management philosophy emphasized meeting predetermined schedules and budget targets while minimizing disruptions that could complicate relationships with clients or regulatory agencies. The fundamental philosophical differences between Sophia's approach to technology development and Marcus's operational priorities had created increasing tension as Nexus grew, from an innovative startup into an established corporation with substantial client obligations and regulatory responsibilities. Sophia's commitment to thorough testing, comprehensive documentation, and proactive identification of potential problems conflicted with Marcus's preference for rapid deployment and incremental problem-solving that addressed issues only after they became apparent through user experience or client complaints. The conflict between these approaches had intensified during the development of an automated trading system for a major investment bank that required processing enormous volumes of transactions while maintaining absolute accuracy and regulatory compliance across multiple international jurisdictions. Sophia's team had identified critical flaws in the proposed algorithm that could result in incorrect trade executions, regulatory violations, and potentially substantial financial losses for both Nexus and their client institution. The mathematical errors were subtle but consistent, creating systematic biases that would become apparent only after extensive real-world testing under diverse market conditions. Marcus had rejected Sophia's recommendations for additional testing and algorithm refinement, arguing that the identified issues were theoretical problems that would not manifest under normal operating conditions, and that delaying system deployment would compromise Nexus's reputation for reliable delivery and potentially result in a contract cancellation by an impatient client. His decision to proceed with deployment despite documented technical concerns forced Sophia to choose between remaining silent about serious professional concerns or challenging her supervisor's authority in ways that could compromise her position within the organization. The choice had been clear from both ethical and professional perspectives. Sophia had documented her concerns comprehensively and presented alternative solutions that could address the identified problems without significantly impacting deployment schedules or development costs. Her proposed modifications were based on rigorous mathematical analysis and extensive testing that demonstrated their effectiveness in preventing the systematic errors. The technical sophistication of her recommendations and the thoroughness of her supporting documentation had made it impossible for Marcus to dismiss her concerns based on technical merit alone. Instead, Marcus had characterized her persistence in raising technical concerns as evidence of attitude problems that reflected inability to work collaboratively within established organizational frameworks and acceptance of management decisions regarding project priorities and resource allocation. Her detailed technical documentation had been reframed as excessive perfectionism that prevented timely completion of assigned responsibilities, while her requests for additional testing had been described as resistance to reasonable management direction and unwillingness to accept that operational constraints sometimes require compromise between ideal solutions and practical implementation requirements. The recharacterization of technical expertise and professional responsibility as attitude problems had revealed fundamental differences in how Nexus leadership understood the relationship between innovation and operational efficiency. Sophia's approach emphasized the importance of identifying and addressing potential problems proactively to prevent more serious issues that could compromise system performance, client relationships, and regulatory compliance. This methodology required time, resources, and attention to detail that sometimes conflicted with aggressive schedules and budget constraints. Marcus's operational approach prioritized meeting predetermined targets and maintaining predictable workflows that could be managed through established procedures and clear performance metrics.
This methodology emphasized efficiency and accountability while minimizing unpredictable variables that could complicate planning and resource allocation. The apparent conflict between these approaches reflected broader tensions within technology companies as they evolved from research-oriented startups to commercially focused enterprises with substantial obligations to clients, investors, and regulatory agencies. The escalation of these philosophical differences had occurred during a critical project review meeting where Sophia had presented comprehensive analysis of security vulnerabilities in a customer data processing system that was scheduled for deployment to 3 major banks within 6 weeks. Her presentation included detailed technical documentation, proposed solutions, and implementation timelines that demonstrated how the identified problems could be addressed without significantly delaying the deployment schedule or exceeding approved budget allocations. The meeting had included senior leadership from multiple departments, along with representatives from the client institutions, who were seeking assurance that the system would meet their security and regulatory requirements. Sophia's presentation had been thorough and professional, focusing on technical issues and practical solutions rather than criticizing previous decisions or questioning management competence. Her recommendations were based on industry best practices and regulatory guidelines that were clearly applicable to the project requirements. Marcus's response to her presentation had been immediately defensive and increasingly aggressive, as other meeting participants had asked detailed questions about the security vulnerabilities and proposed solutions. Rather than engaging with the technical content of her analysis, Marcus had characterized her concerns as examples of the attitude problems that had been interfering with team productivity and project completion schedules. He had suggested that her unwillingness to accept management decisions and her persistence in raising concerns that had already been considered and dismissed reflected professional immaturity and inability to function effectively within established organizational structures. The public criticism of her professional competence and character in front of client representatives and senior leadership had been particularly damaging because it had undermined her credibility and technical authority while deflecting attention from the substantive security concerns she had raised. The reframing of technical expertise as attitude problems had made it difficult for other meeting participants to evaluate her recommendations based on their technical merit rather than the interpersonal conflict that Marcus had created through his defensive response. The aftermath of this meeting had included private conversations between Marcus and senior leadership that Sophia had not been permitted to participate in, despite being the technical expert most qualified to address the concerns that had been raised. These discussions had apparently focused on her attitude and management challenges rather than the security vulnerabilities and technical solutions that should have been the primary consideration for a technology company serving financial institutions with strict regulatory requirements and fiduciary responsibilities to their customers. The decision to proceed with system deployment, despite documented security concerns, had represented a fundamental compromise of the technical standards and ethical principles that Sophia had understood to be essential values at Nexus Financial Technologies. The willingness to prioritize operational convenience over system security and customer protection had revealed that the company's rapid growth had fundamentally altered its culture and decision-making processes in ways that conflicted with her professional values and career objectives. The formal termination meeting had occurred 3 weeks after the project review presentation, allowing sufficient time for Marcus to document performance concerns and develop justifications for dismissal that would minimize legal risk while eliminating what he apparently perceived as a persistent source of operational disruption. The meeting had been conducted in a small conference room with Marcus and a human resources representative who had provided official documentation of the termination decision and explanations of continuing benefits and legal obligations regarding confidentiality and non-disclosure agreements that would remain in effect following termination. The discussion had been professional and procedural, focusing on administrative requirements rather than the substantive technical and ethical issues that had created the conflict leading to termination. The carefully constructed narrative about attitude problems and collaboration difficulties had effectively obscured the technical expertise and professional integrity that had motivated her persistence in raising security concerns. The immediate emotional impact of termination had been complex, combining relief at escaping an increasingly toxic work environment with profound frustration about the security vulnerabilities and technical problems that would remain unaddressed due to her removal from the projects where her expertise was most needed. The characterization of professional competence and ethical responsibility as attitude problems had been particularly demoralizing because it had distorted legitimate technical concerns into personal deficiencies that justified dismissal rather than engagement with substantive issues. However, the termination had also provided clarity about the fundamental differences between her professional values and the corporate culture that Nexus had developed as it prioritized rapid growth over technical excellence and operational convenience over customer protection. The inability to address serious technical problems within an organization that claimed to value innovation and expertise had demonstrated that her long-term career objectives would require different environments where technical competence and professional integrity were genuinely valued rather than simply advertised as marketing concepts.
Standing in the executive washroom on her final morning at Nexus Financial Technologies, Sophia had recognized that her termination represented both the end of one chapter in her career and the beginning of opportunities that could ultimately prove more significant than the position she was losing. The reflection in the marble mirror had shown someone whose technical expertise and professional integrity remained intact despite the temporary setback of working for an organization that had prioritized political convenience over technical excellence and customer protection. The patent pending under her name represented intellectual property that could form the foundation for independent ventures that would allow her to pursue innovations without the constraints and compromises that had made her position at Nexus ultimately untenable. The revolutionary algorithm that Marcus Sullivan had dismissed as unnecessarily complex and disruptive would prove to be the key to transforming financial technology in ways that created both technical advancement and substantial commercial opportunities for organizations willing to prioritize innovation over operational convenience. The woman in the mirror had possessed the knowledge, skills, and determination necessary to demonstrate that technical excellence and ethical responsibility were not attitude problems, but essential capabilities for building sustainable success in industries where customer trust and regulatory compliance were fundamental requirements rather than optional considerations. The termination from Nexus would prove to be the catalyst for achievements that exceeded anything that would have been possible within the constraints and limitations of working for an organization that had lost sight of the innovation and integrity that had originally made it successful. The executive washroom with its marble surfaces and polished chrome fixtures had been designed to reinforce corporate status and professional hierarchy. Yet for Sophia, it had become the site of recognition that her most significant contributions to financial technology would occur through independent initiatives that prioritized technical excellence over political convenience and customer protection over operational efficiency. The reflection in the mirror had shown someone ready to move beyond the limitations of corporate employment toward entrepreneurial opportunities that would ultimately transform both her career trajectory and the industry that had underestimated her capabilities and dismissed her expertise as problematic rather than valuable. The careful documentation of technical problems and security vulnerabilities that had contributed to her termination would prove to be valuable intellectual foundation for developing solutions that addressed fundamental challenges in financial technology while creating commercial opportunities for organizations willing to prioritize innovation over operational convenience. Her future success would provide compelling evidence that technical expertise and professional integrity were essential capabilities for sustainable achievement rather than attitude problems that interfered with short-term operational objectives. The morning sunlight streaming through the washroom windows had illuminated not only her reflection, but also the possibilities that extended beyond the limitations and constraints of working within organizations that had prioritized political comfort over technical excellence and customer protection over operational efficiency. The woman in the mirror was someone whose most significant achievements lay ahead rather than behind, whose technical capabilities and professional values would ultimately prove more valuable than the position she was losing,
and whose termination would prove to be the catalyst for innovations that would transform both her career and the industry that had failed to recognize her potential contributions. The morning after her termination from Nexus Financial Technologies, Sophia Chen sat in the cramped living room of her Lincoln Park apartment, surrounded by 3 laptops, scattered patent documentation, and handwritten algorithm sequences that represented 4 years of innovative work in financial technology. The contrast between her current environment and the polished corporate offices she had left behind was stark. Yet the intellectual freedom she experienced in this modest space exceeded anything she had felt during her final months at Nexus. The revolutionary trading algorithm that Marcus Sullivan had dismissed as unnecessarily complex and disruptive would prove to be the key to transforming financial technology in ways that created both technical advancement and substantial commercial opportunities for organizations willing to prioritize innovation over operational convenience. Her apartment had been transformed into a makeshift research laboratory where advanced mathematical concepts merged with practical software development in ways that would have been impossible within the constraints and bureaucratic limitations of corporate employment. The dining table served as her primary workspace, covered with multiple monitors displaying real-time market data, algorithm performance metrics, and security analysis tools that enabled her to test and refine her innovations without the interference of managers who prioritized operational convenience over technical excellence. The kitchen counter had become a staging area for patent applications, legal documentation, and business plan drafts that outlined her vision for creating a financial technology company that would compete directly with established firms like Nexus, while maintaining ethical standards and technical integrity that the industry had largely abandoned. The first priority in establishing her independent venture required securing adequate funding to support the extensive research, development, and testing necessary for bringing her algorithms to market in ways that would meet regulatory requirements and client expectations. Her personal savings account contains sufficient resources to sustain basic living expenses for approximately 18 months, providing a limited window for proving the commercial viability of her innovations before external funding became essential for continued operations. The challenge of transitioning from corporate employment to entrepreneurial venture demanded careful financial planning and strategic decision-making that balanced the need for rapid progress with the constraints of limited resources and uncertain revenue projections. The patent applications that Sophia had filed during her employment at Nexus represented valuable intellectual property that could form the foundation for licensing agreements, strategic partnerships, or acquisition opportunities that would generate revenue while establishing her credibility within the financial technology industry. The 3 patents pending approval covered fundamental innovations in algorithmic trading, fraud detection, and risk assessment that addressed critical challenges facing financial institutions across multiple market sectors. The mathematical sophistication and practical applicability of these innovations had attracted interest from patent attorneys who specialized in technology commercialization and understood the potential value of intellectual property in rapidly evolving industries. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a patent attorney with extensive experience in financial technology commercialization, had agreed to represent Sophia's interests in navigating the complex legal and regulatory requirements associated with establishing an independent technology venture. Her practice specialized in helping researchers and inventors transition from academic or corporate employment to entrepreneurial ventures, while protecting their intellectual property rights and ensuring compliance with legal obligations regarding non-disclosure agreements and employment restrictions. Her expertise encompassed both technical evaluation of innovation potential and practical guidance regarding business development, funding strategies, and market positioning that could maximize the commercial value of advanced research.
Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. The initial consultation with Elena had revealed that Sophia's patent applications possessed exceptional strength based on their mathematical rigor, practical applicability, and potential for addressing fundamental challenges in financial technology that existing solutions had failed to resolve adequately.
The innovations represented genuine advances in algorithmic design and implementation rather than incremental improvements to existing methodologies, creating opportunities for licensing agreements and strategic partnerships that could generate substantial revenue while establishing market credibility. Elena's analysis had emphasized the importance of maintaining detailed documentation of independent development work to demonstrate that future innovations were not derived from proprietary information or resources obtained during corporate employment. The business plan that emerged from these consultations outlined a comprehensive strategy for developing and commercializing financial technology solutions that prioritized security, accuracy, and regulatory compliance while generating competitive advantages through superior performance and customer protection. The proposed company, Quantum Securities Analytics, would focus on providing algorithmic trading platforms, risk assessment tools, and fraud detection systems to financial institutions seeking to modernize their operations without compromising security or regulatory compliance. The business model emphasized licensing agreements and software-as-a-service contracts that would generate recurring revenue while enabling rapid scaling without the capital requirements and operational complexity associated with traditional technology development approaches. The market analysis conducted for the business plan had identified significant opportunities within the financial technology sector where established companies like Nexus had failed to address critical customer needs due to their focus on operational efficiency rather than technical excellence and security. Community banks, credit unions, and regional investment firms represented underserved market segments that required sophisticated technology solutions but lacked the resources and expertise necessary for developing proprietary systems. These organizations needed reliable partners who could provide cutting-edge technology while maintaining cost structures that aligned with their smaller scale and limited technology budgets. The competitive analysis had revealed that most established financial technology companies had evolved into large bureaucratic organizations where innovation was constrained by internal politics, operational procedures, and risk-averse management cultures that prioritized predictable revenue over breakthrough developments. Companies like Nexus had become vulnerable to disruption by smaller, more agile competitors who could develop superior solutions while maintaining closer relationships with clients and more responsive adaptation to changing market conditions. The opportunity existed for a new venture to capture significant market share by providing better technology, superior customer service, and more flexible business models than established competitors. The initial funding strategy focused on bootstrapping operations through consulting contracts and licensing agreements that would generate revenue while supporting continued research and development activities. Several former colleagues from Nexus had contacted Sophia privately to express interest in the consulting services and technical expertise that her independent venture could provide for their own projects and career transitions. These informal networking conversations had revealed widespread dissatisfaction with the direction that Nexus was taking under Marcus Sullivan's operational leadership, creating opportunities for recruiting talented professionals who shared her commitment to technical excellence and ethical business practices. Dr. Michael Chen, a former colleague who had recently accepted a position as Chief Technology Officer at Metropolitan Community Bank, had approached Sophia about developing a custom fraud detection system that would address specific vulnerabilities in their customer transaction processing infrastructure. The project represented an ideal opportunity to demonstrate the practical value of her algorithmic innovations while generating revenue that would support continued development of more comprehensive technology solutions. The contract would provide sufficient funding for 6 months of operations while creating a reference client that could facilitate additional business development opportunities within the community banking sector. The fraud detection project required developing sophisticated machine learning algorithms that could identify suspicious transaction patterns while minimizing false positive alerts that created unnecessary friction for legitimate customer activities. The technical challenge involved analyzing enormous volumes of transaction data in real time while maintaining accuracy rates that exceeded industry standards and regulatory requirements. Sophia's approach emphasized mathematical modeling techniques that could adapt to evolving fraud patterns while maintaining interpretability and auditability that regulatory agencies required for compliance verification. The development work proceeded rapidly due to her deep understanding of both the mathematical principles underlying effective fraud detection and the practical constraints facing financial institutions that needed to balance security with customer service quality. Her algorithms incorporated advanced statistical techniques and machine learning methodologies that had been developed through her academic research but never implemented commercially due to the technical complexity and computational requirements that most organizations were unwilling or unable to support. The independence of working outside corporate constraints enabled her to pursue optimal solutions rather than compromising based on operational convenience or budget limitations.
The successful deployment of the fraud detection system at Metropolitan Community Bank generated immediate interest from other financial institutions seeking similar capabilities and performance improvements. Word of the system's effectiveness spread through industry networks and professional associations, creating opportunities for additional consulting contracts and licensing agreements that would support expanded operations and accelerated development of complementary technology solutions. The reference client relationship with Metropolitan Community Bank provided credibility and validation that facilitated business development conversations with larger institutions that required proven track records before considering new technology partnerships. The growing demand for Sophia's expertise and technology solutions necessitated expanding operations beyond her apartment-based research laboratory to accommodate additional projects and support staff that would be required for serving multiple clients simultaneously. She negotiated a lease agreement for office space in a technology incubator facility located in Chicago's River North District, where startup companies could access shared resources, networking opportunities, and professional services while maintaining cost-effective operations during early growth phases. The facility provided access to high-speed internet infrastructure, conference rooms, and administrative support that would enable more professional client interactions while maintaining the flexibility and cost control necessary for sustainable growth. The office space represented a significant milestone in the transition from individual consulting to establishing a legitimate technology company with the infrastructure and capabilities necessary for competing with established firms in the financial technology sector. The physical presence and professional environment enhanced credibility with potential clients, while providing space for recruiting additional technical staff and expanding research and development activities. The location within a technology incubator facility also facilitated networking opportunities with other entrepreneurs, investors, and service providers who could support continued growth and business development. The recruitment of additional technical staff began with Dr. Jennifer Walsh, a former Stanford colleague who had been working as a senior data scientist at a major consulting firm but was interested in joining a smaller organization where she could have greater impact on product development and technical innovation. Jennifer's expertise in machine learning and statistical modeling complemented Sophia's mathematical background while providing additional capabilities for handling multiple client projects simultaneously. Her decision to join Quantum Securities Analytics reflected both confidence in the technology and business model that Sophia had developed and dissatisfaction with the bureaucratic constraints and limited innovation opportunities available at large corporate employers. The addition of Jennifer to the team enabled Quantum Securities Analytics to pursue more ambitious projects while maintaining the quality and attention to detail that had established their reputation for technical excellence. Jennifer's background in data science and statistical analysis provided capabilities for developing more sophisticated risk assessment tools and market analysis systems that could address broader client needs beyond fraud detection. Her experience working with large data sets and complex modeling challenges would prove essential for scaling their technology solutions to handle the volume and complexity requirements of larger financial institutions. The second key recruitment involved Thomas Kim, a software engineer with extensive experience in financial systems development who had recently completed a master's degree in cybersecurity and was seeking opportunities to work on cutting-edge technology projects. Thomas's background included 5 years of experience developing trading platforms and risk management systems for regional investment firms, providing practical knowledge of industry requirements and regulatory constraints that complemented the theoretical expertise that Sophia and Jennifer brought to the team.
His technical skills in software architecture and system integration would be essential for developing scalable platforms that could be deployed across diverse client environments. The team expansion enabled Quantum Securities Analytics to pursue multiple projects simultaneously while maintaining the technical quality and customer service that had established their competitive advantages over larger, more bureaucratic competitors. The combination of mathematical expertise, data science capabilities, and practical software development experience created a comprehensive skill set that could address complex client requirements while developing innovative solutions that established new industry standards for performance and security. The collaborative team culture emphasized technical excellence and professional integrity rather than internal politics and operational expedience that had characterized Sophia's experience at Nexus. The business development activities that accompanied team expansion revealed significant market opportunities within the financial technology sector, where established companies had failed to address evolving client needs and regulatory requirements. The increasing complexity of financial markets and regulatory environments had created demand for more sophisticated technology solutions that could provide better security, accuracy, and compliance than existing commercial platforms. Quantum Securities Analytics positioned itself as a premium technology provider that could deliver superior solutions while maintaining cost structures that were competitive with established alternatives. The strategic positioning emphasized the company's commitment to technical excellence and ethical business practices as fundamental differentiators in a market where many competitors had prioritized operational efficiency over customer protection and innovation. This positioning resonated strongly with financial institutions that had experienced problems with existing technology vendors and were seeking partners who could provide both superior technology and more responsive customer service. The reputation for reliability and technical sophistication that Quantum Securities Analytics was developing facilitated business development conversations and shortened sales cycles compared to the extended evaluation processes that larger competitors typically required.
The success of the initial consulting projects and technology deployments attracted attention from venture capital investors who specialized in financial technology companies and understood the market potential for innovative solutions that addressed fundamental industry challenges. The investment conversations revealed that Quantum Securities Analytics had achieved remarkable progress in a relatively short period, developing technology solutions that outperformed established competitors while building a sustainable business model and assembling a talented team. The combination of proven technology, growing client base, and experienced team created compelling investment opportunities for organizations seeking to support disruptive innovations in financial services. However, the growing success and visibility of Quantum Securities Analytics also attracted attention from Nexus Financial Technologies, where Marcus Sullivan and senior leadership began to recognize that their former employee had developed competitive technologies that threatened their market position and client relationships. The superior performance of Sophia's fraud detection and risk assessment systems had become apparent to industry observers who were beginning to question why Nexus had terminated such talented personnel while failing to develop comparable innovations internally. The contrast between Quantum Securities Analytics' rapid progress and technical excellence and Nexus's continued reliance on outdated systems and operational approaches was becoming increasingly evident to clients and industry analysts. The competitive threat posed by Quantum Securities Analytics became particularly acute when Metropolitan Community Bank publicized the exceptional performance improvements they had achieved through implementing Sophia's fraud detection system. The case study demonstrated measurable reductions in fraud losses, improved customer satisfaction scores, and enhanced regulatory compliance that exceeded results from comparable implementations using technology from established vendors, including Nexus. The public recognition of these achievements highlighted the superior capabilities that Sophia had developed independently, while raising questions about the technical competence and innovation capabilities of her former employer.
Marcus Sullivan's response to this competitive threat involved attempting to undermine quantum securities analytics through industry networks and client relationships, characterizing Sophia's success as temporary luck rather than sustainable technical expertise. He suggested to potential clients that her small company lacked the resources and stability necessary for supporting enterprise-level implementations, while questioning whether her technology solutions could maintain performance and security standards under high-volume production conditions. These efforts to damage her professional reputation and business prospects represented a continuation of the pattern of dismissive and hostile behavior that had characterized his management approach at Nexus. The escalation of competitive pressure from Nexus created both challenges and opportunities for quantum securities analytics as they worked to establish market credibility while defending against unfair business practices and reputational attacks. The situation required careful strategic response that would demonstrate professionalism and technical competence while building stronger relationships with clients and industry partners who could provide support and validation. The challenge of competing against a larger, more established company with greater resources demanded strategic thinking and operational excellence that would prove the value of their innovations while building sustainable competitive advantages. The strategic response to these competitive pressures involved developing comprehensive documentation of technical capabilities and performance metrics that could provide objective evidence of their solution's superiority over existing alternatives. The documentation included detailed case studies, performance benchmarks, and client testimonials that demonstrated measurable improvements in security, accuracy, and operational efficiency compared to systems provided by established vendors, including Nexus. This evidence-based approach to business development enabled potential clients to evaluate technology solutions based on factual performance data rather than marketing claims or subjective assessments. The success of this strategic approach became evident when Pacific Investment Partners, a mid-size investment management firm, selected Quantum Securities Analytics to develop a comprehensive trading platform and risk management system despite aggressive competitive efforts from Nexus and other established vendors. The selection was based on technical evaluations that demonstrated superior performance characteristics and more flexible customization capabilities compared to standard commercial products that required expensive modifications to meet specific client requirements. The contract represented the largest engagement in quantum securities analytics' brief history, while providing opportunities to demonstrate their capabilities at enterprise scale. The Pacific Investment Partners project required developing sophisticated algorithms for high-frequency trading, portfolio optimization, and real-time risk assessment that could process thousands of transactions per minute while maintaining accuracy and regulatory compliance across multiple market sectors. The technical complexity of this work exceeded anything that Sophia had been permitted to pursue at Nexus, enabling her to apply advanced mathematical techniques and computational methods that had been developed through her academic research, but never implemented commercially. The project provided opportunities to demonstrate the full potential of her innovations while establishing new industry standards for trading platform performance and security. The development process emphasized collaborative client engagement and iterative refinement that ensured the final system would meet specific operational requirements while incorporating cutting-edge technology that provided competitive advantages in rapidly evolving financial markets. Regular progress reviews and technical demonstrations enabled Pacific Investment Partners to provide feedback and guidance that enhanced system functionality while building confidence in quantum securities analytics capabilities and professional approach. The transparency and collaborative methodology contrasted sharply with the secretive and inflexible approaches typically employed by larger technology vendors who treated clients as passive recipients of predetermined solutions. The successful implementation of the trading platform at Pacific Investment Partners exceeded performance expectations while demonstrating capabilities that attracted additional attention from institutional investors and financial services organizations seeking superior technology solutions.
The system achieved processing speeds that were 30% faster than comparable commercial platforms, while maintaining error rates below industry standards and providing enhanced security features that addressed evolving cybersecurity threats. The measurable performance improvements generated immediate returns on investment, while establishing quantum securities analytics as a legitimate competitor to established technology vendors in the institutional trading sector. The recognition and validation that resulted from the Pacific Investment Partners' success created momentum for additional business development opportunities, while attracting interest from potential strategic partners and investors who recognize the commercial potential of Sophia's innovations. The combination of proven technology, satisfied clients, and growing market recognition positioned quantum securities analytics for accelerated growth and expansion into additional market segments where their technical capabilities could address unmet needs and generate competitive advantages for financial institutions seeking to modernize their operations. However, the growing success of quantum securities analytics also intensified competitive responses from Nexus Financial Technologies, where Marcus Sullivan began implementing more aggressive strategies to undermine their business prospects and limit their access to potential clients and strategic partners. The escalation of this competitive conflict would test both Sophia's business acumen and her team's resilience, while creating opportunities to demonstrate the leadership capabilities and strategic thinking that would be necessary for achieving her ultimate objective of transforming the financial technology industry through technical excellence and ethical business practices. The foundation that quantum securities analytics had established through technical innovation, client success, and team development created multiple pathways for continued growth and competitive positioning that would eventually enable Sophia to pursue more ambitious objectives, including potential acquisition or merger opportunities that could provide access to larger market segments and greater resources for continued innovation and expansion. The strategic positioning and operational capabilities that had been developed through careful planning and execution would prove essential for navigating the complex challenges and opportunities that lay ahead as the competitive dynamics within the financial technology sector continued to evolve. The transformation of quantum securities analytics from a promising startup into a formidable industry competitor accelerated dramatically during the 18 months following the successful implementation of their trading platform at Pacific Investment Partners. The exceptional performance metrics and client satisfaction scores generated by their technology solutions had attracted attention from institutional investors, private equity firms, and strategic acquirers who recognized the commercial potential and competitive advantages that Sophia's innovations represented in the rapidly evolving financial technology sector. The company's revenue had grown from initial consulting contracts worth several $100,000 to enterprise licensing agreements and software-as-a-service contracts totaling over $40 million annually, with projected growth trajectories that position them among the fastest-growing technology companies in the Midwest. The success of quantum securities analytics had fundamentally altered the competitive landscape within the financial technology sector, particularly in market segments where established companies like Nexus Financial Technologies had previously dominated through operational scale and established client relationships rather than technical innovation or superior performance. The measurable advantages that Sophia's algorithms provided in terms of processing speed, accuracy rates, security capabilities, and regulatory compliance had created compelling value propositions that enabled smaller financial institutions to compete more effectively with larger competitors, while providing enterprise-level clients with technology solutions that exceeded their existing capabilities and expectations. The strategic positioning that emerged from these competitive advantages emphasized quantum securities analytics' commitment to technical excellence and customer-centric innovation as fundamental differentiators in a market where many established competitors had become complacent about technological advancement and responsive customer service. Their reputation for developing customized solutions that addressed specific client requirements while maintaining industry-leading performance standards had generated word-of-mouth referrals and industry recognition that accelerated business development activities and shortened sales cycles compared to the extended evaluation processes that larger competitors typically required for enterprise-level engagements.
The expansion of their technology portfolio had encompassed comprehensive development of integrated financial technology platforms that combined algorithmic trading, risk management, fraud detection, and regulatory compliance capabilities into unified systems that could replace multiple vendor relationships while providing superior functionality and cost efficiency. The technical sophistication of these integrated platforms reflected years of advanced mathematical research and practical software development experience that enabled quantum securities analytics to address complex client requirements that established vendors had been unable to solve effectively through their standard commercial products and customization services. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, the Chief Technology Officer at Consolidated Financial Services, had approached Sophia about developing a comprehensive technology transformation initiative that would modernize their entire operational infrastructure while improving performance, security, and regulatory compliance across all business units. Consolidated Financial Services managed over $12 billion in assets across commercial banking, investment management, and insurance operations that required sophisticated technology solutions capable of handling enormous transaction volumes while maintaining accuracy and security standards that exceeded regulatory requirements and industry benchmarks for customer protection and data privacy. The scope and complexity of the Consolidated Financial Services engagement represented the largest opportunity in quantum securities analytics history, while providing a platform for demonstrating their capabilities at enterprise scale across multiple financial service sectors simultaneously. The successful completion of this project would establish them as a legitimate competitor to major technology vendors while generating revenue and market credibility that could support continued expansion and strategic positioning for additional growth opportunities. The technical challenges involved integrating diverse legacy systems, implementing advanced security protocols, and developing scalable architectures that could accommodate future growth and evolving regulatory requirements. The development process for the Consolidated Financial Services platform required expanding quantum securities analytics team to recruitment of additional technical specialists, project managers, and client service professionals who possessed the expertise and experience necessary for managing complex enterprise implementations. Dr. Amanda Foster, a former senior engineer from IBM with extensive experience in large-scale system integration and enterprise software development, served as director of engineering and oversee the technical aspects of major client implementations, while maintaining quality standards and delivery schedules that exceeded client expectations and industry benchmarks. The addition of Amanda to the leadership team provided essential capabilities for managing multiple complex projects simultaneously while maintaining the technical excellence and customer service quality that had established quantum securities analytics' competitive advantages in the marketplace. Amanda's background included successful leadership of technology transformation initiatives at Fortune 500 companies, providing practical knowledge of enterprise requirements and implementation challenges that complemented the innovative algorithms and mathematical expertise that formed the foundation of their technology solutions.
Her experience with project management methodologies and quality assurance processes would prove essential for scaling their operations while maintaining reliability and customer satisfaction. The recruitment of additional team members had encompassed diverse expertise areas, including cybersecurity specialists, regulatory compliance experts, user experience designers, and business development professionals who could support comprehensive client engagements while developing new market opportunities and strategic partnerships. The team expansion reflected quantum securities analytics evolution from a specialized algorithm development company to a comprehensive financial technology provider capable of addressing enterprise-level requirements across multiple industry sectors and geographic markets. The successful implementation of the comprehensive technology platform at Consolidated Financial Services exceeded both client expectations and industry benchmarks for performance, security, and user satisfaction, while demonstrating quantum securities analytics capabilities for managing complex enterprise engagements that required coordination of multiple technical specialties and stakeholder groups.
The new system achieved processing speeds that were 50% faster than their previous infrastructure, while reducing operational costs by 30% and improving customer satisfaction scores through enhanced user interfaces and more reliable transaction processing capabilities. The measurable improvements in operational efficiency and customer service quality that resulted from the consolidated financial services implementation generated immediate attention from other large financial institutions seeking similar technology transformation opportunities. The case study documentation and performance metrics that Quantum Securities Analytics developed from this engagement provided compelling evidence of their competitive advantages while establishing credibility for pursuing additional enterprise-level opportunities that could support continued growth and market expansion. The industry recognition that accompanied these successful implementations attracted attention from Meridian Capital Partners, a private equity firm specializing in financial technology investments that recognize the strategic value and growth potential represented by Quantum Securities Analytics' technology portfolio and market positioning. The initial discussions with Meridian Capital Partners revealed interest in providing expansion capital that could support accelerated growth through additional team recruitment, technology development, and strategic acquisition opportunities that would enhance their competitive positioning and market reach. However, the conversations with Meridian Capital Partners also revealed more ambitious strategic opportunities, including potential acquisition or merger transactions that could provide access to larger market segments and establish client relationships while leveraging their technical innovations to transform underperforming competitors or consolidate fragmented market sectors. The private equity firm's investment portfolio included several financial technology companies that could benefit from Quantum Securities Analytics' advanced algorithms and implementation expertise, while providing distribution channels and operational scale that could accelerate market penetration and revenue growth. The strategic analysis conducted in collaboration with Meridian Capital Partners had identified Nexus Financial Technologies as a particularly attractive acquisition target due to their established client relationships, operational infrastructure, and market position that could be significantly enhanced through implementation of superior technology solutions and more effective management practices. Despite their larger size and established market presence, Nexus had been struggling with declining client satisfaction scores, increasing competitive pressure, and internal operational challenges that had compromised their growth prospects and profitability compared to more innovative competitors like Quantum Securities Analytics. The detailed financial analysis of Nexus Financial Technologies revealed fundamental problems with their business model and operational effectiveness that created opportunities for value creation through strategic improvement initiatives. Their technology infrastructure had become outdated and inefficient compared to current industry standards, while their management practices emphasized operational control over innovation and customer service quality. The combination of superior technology and more effective leadership could potentially transform Nexus into a market-leading organization while providing substantial returns for investors who understood the improvement potential and competitive advantages that could be achieved through strategic integration. Marcus Sullivan's operational management approach had created systematic problems throughout Nexus that extended beyond the technology limitations that had originally prompted Sophia's termination. Employee satisfaction surveys revealed widespread dissatisfaction with leadership communication, career advancement opportunities, and recognition of professional contributions that had resulted in increased turnover among talented personnel and difficulty recruiting qualified candidates for critical technical positions. Client satisfaction scores had declined consistently over the previous 2 years as competitive alternatives became available and service quality failed to meet evolving expectations for responsiveness and technical capability. The measurable improvements in operational efficiency and customer service quality that resulted from the consolidated financial services implementation generated immediate attention from other large financial institutions seeking similar technology transformation opportunities.
The acquisition proposal that emerged from these strategic discussions involved Meridian Capital Partners providing financing and coordination support for Quantum Securities Analytics to acquire controlling interest in Nexus Financial Technologies through a leveraged buyout transaction that would enable comprehensive operational transformation while maintaining continuity for existing clients and employees. The transaction structure would position Sophia as Chief Executive Officer of the combined organization while preserving the technical innovations and client relationships that both companies had developed independently. The complexity of structuring and executing this acquisition transaction required extensive legal, financial, and operational analysis to ensure regulatory compliance and stakeholder protection while achieving the strategic objectives that motivated the initiative. The due diligence process involved comprehensive evaluation of Nexus's financial condition, legal obligations, regulatory compliance status, and operational capabilities that would be essential for successful integration and transformation. The timeline for completing the transaction required careful coordination of multiple professional service providers and regulatory agencies while maintaining confidentiality to prevent market disruption or competitive interference. The legal framework for the acquisition transaction involved sophisticated financing arrangements that combined private equity investment, debt financing, and strategic partnerships that would provide sufficient capital for completing the purchase while supporting post-acquisition improvement initiatives and continued growth investments. The transaction documentation required detailed agreements regarding management responsibilities, operational integration processes, employee retention programs, and performance metrics that would guide the transformation process while protecting stakeholder interests and ensuring accountability for achieving targeted improvements.
The announcement of the proposed acquisition generated significant attention within the financial technology industry as observers recognized the strategic implications of a smaller, more innovative company acquiring a larger, more established competitor through superior performance and strategic positioning rather than traditional financial advantages or market manipulation. The transaction represented a validation of technology-driven competition and innovation-focused business strategies that challenged conventional assumptions about industry consolidation and competitive dynamics. However, the announcement also created immediate resistance from Nexus senior management, including Marcus Sullivan, who recognized that the acquisition would likely result in significant changes to organizational structure, operational procedures, and personnel decisions that could affect their positions and authority within the combined organization. The resistance efforts involved attempts to mobilize board opposition, generate negative publicity about the proposed transaction, and create operational disruptions that could complicate the acquisition process or reduce the perceived value of the target company. Marcus Sullivan's response to the acquisition announcement involved coordinating with other senior managers to develop strategies for preventing or complicating the transaction through legal challenges, regulatory complaints, and stakeholder relationship management that could create obstacles for completing the purchase or achieving post-acquisition integration objectives. The defensive campaign that Marcus organized included efforts to characterize the acquisition as financially motivated rather than strategically beneficial, questioning whether Quantum Securities Analytics possessed sufficient resources and experience for managing a larger, more complex organization like Nexus Financial Technologies. The criticism emphasized potential risks associated with rapid organizational change and suggested that existing clients and employees would be better served by maintaining current management and operational approaches rather than implementing unproven strategies developed by a smaller competitor. The board of directors at Nexus Financial Technologies found themselves in a complex situation where fiduciary responsibilities to shareholders required objective evaluation of the acquisition proposal while considering the resistance from senior management and potential implications for organizational stability and client relationships. The independent financial analysis commissioned by the board revealed that the proposed transaction offered substantial premium pricing compared to current market valuations while providing access to superior technology and management capabilities that could enhance competitive positioning and financial performance. The detailed evaluation process conducted by the board included comprehensive assessment of Quantum Securities Analytics' track record, financial condition, and strategic capabilities that would be essential for successful integration and operational improvement.
The analysis revealed consistent patterns of superior performance, client satisfaction, and innovation that contrasted favorably with Nexus's recent operational challenges and competitive positioning. The evidence suggested that the proposed acquisition could provide significant benefits for shareholders, clients, and employees through improved technology, more effective management, and enhanced market competitiveness. The board's decision to approve the acquisition proposal reflected recognition that Sophia's leadership and technical innovations represented superior alternatives to current management approaches while providing realistic opportunities for addressing the operational problems and competitive challenges that had been limiting Nexus's growth prospects and financial performance. The approval process included detailed negotiations regarding transaction terms, integration timelines, and management transition arrangements that would protect stakeholder interests while enabling effective implementation of improvement strategies. The completion of the acquisition transaction occurred approximately 6 months after the initial announcement, following extensive regulatory review, stakeholder consultation, and operational planning that ensured compliance with legal requirements while preparing for effective post-acquisition integration and management transition. The transaction documentation included comprehensive agreements regarding organizational structure, operational procedures, and performance expectations that would guide the transformation process while maintaining continuity for clients and employees during the transition period. The formal announcement of Sophia Chen's appointment as Chief Executive Officer of the newly combined organization generated significant industry attention as observers recognized the remarkable achievement represented by her return to lead the same company that had terminated her employment for attitude problems less than 5 years earlier. The appointment represented validation of her technical expertise, strategic capabilities, and leadership potential, while providing opportunities to implement the innovations and improvements that had been dismissed or rejected during her previous employment. The first board meeting under Sophia's leadership was scheduled for the third week following the completion of the acquisition transaction, providing time for initial assessment of organizational conditions and preparation of strategic recommendations that would guide the transformation process. The meeting agenda included comprehensive review of operational performance, financial condition, and strategic positioning that would establish baselines for measuring improvement initiatives and accountability for achieving targeted outcomes. Marcus Sullivan's attendance at this board meeting represented a particularly significant moment, as he would be required to participate in discussions regarding his own performance and future role within the organization, while reporting to the same person he had terminated for challenging his authority and questioning his decision-making capabilities. The dynamics of this meeting would test both his ability to adapt to new leadership arrangements and Sophia's capacity for professional management of complex interpersonal relationships under challenging circumstances. The executive conference room where the board meeting convened had been updated with new technology infrastructure and communication systems that reflected quantum securities analytics' commitment to operational excellence and efficient decision-making processes. The mahogany table remained the same, but the atmosphere had been transformed through subtle changes in lighting, equipment, and furniture arrangement that create more collaborative and inclusive environment for strategic discussions and stakeholder engagement. Sophia's preparation for this first board meeting had involved extensive analysis of organizational conditions, operational challenges, and strategic opportunities that would form the foundation for her leadership agenda and transformation initiatives. The documentation she prepared included comprehensive assessment of financial performance, client satisfaction metrics, employee engagement scores, and competitive positioning that revealed both the scope of problems requiring attention and the potential for improvement through effective leadership and strategic innovation. The opening moments of the board meeting proceeded according to standard corporate governance protocols, with formal recognition of the leadership transition and introductory comments regarding strategic objectives and operational priorities for the combined organization.
Sophia's presentation style emphasized collaborative decision-making and stakeholder engagement while demonstrating the analytical rigor and strategic thinking capabilities that had enabled her previous successes in developing innovative technology solutions and building successful business relationships. The agenda progression included detailed review of current operational performance metrics that revealed significant gaps between actual results and industry benchmarks for client satisfaction, employee engagement, operational efficiency, and financial performance.
The analysis demonstrated systematic problems with technology infrastructure, management practices, and strategic positioning that required comprehensive improvement initiatives rather than incremental adjustments to existing procedures and policies. Marcus Sullivan's participation in these discussions revealed his discomfort with the analytical rigor and performance accountability that Sophia's leadership approach emphasized, compared to the operational convenience and political considerations that had characterized his previous management methodology. His responses to questions about specific performance issues and improvement strategies demonstrated limited understanding of the technical and strategic factors that influenced organizational effectiveness and competitive positioning. The contrast between Sophia's comprehensive analysis and strategic recommendations and Marcus's defensive responses to performance criticism became increasingly apparent as the meeting progressed through detailed examination of operational challenges and improvement opportunities. The board members observed fundamental differences in leadership capabilities and strategic thinking that validated their decision to support the acquisition transaction and management transition despite the resistance and criticism that had accompanied the announcement. The presentation of Sophia's strategic plan for organizational transformation included specific initiatives for technology infrastructure modernization, management practice improvements, and cultural changes that would address the systematic problems that had been limiting Nexus's performance and competitive positioning. The plan incorporated lessons learned from successful implementations at other client organizations while adapting to the specific conditions and requirements that characterized Nexus's operational environment and stakeholder relationships. The technology modernization initiatives included comprehensive replacement of outdated systems with advanced platforms that incorporated the algorithmic innovations and security enhancements that had established quantum security's analytics competitive advantages in the marketplace. The implementation timeline included phases for testing, training, and gradual deployment that would minimize operational disruption while ensuring reliable transition to superior technology capabilities that could support improved client service and operational efficiency. The management practice improvements emphasized implementation of performance accountability systems, professional development programs, and collaborative decision-making processes that would enhance employee engagement while improving organizational effectiveness and strategic responsiveness. The initiatives included comprehensive leadership training for supervisory personnel and establishment of clear performance metrics that would guide individual and departmental accountability for achieving targeted outcomes and contributing to organizational success. The cultural transformation initiatives focused on establishing values and practices that prioritized technical excellence, ethical responsibility, and customer service quality as fundamental principles that would guide decision-making and operational procedures throughout the organization. The cultural changes would require sustained effort and consistent reinforcement through leadership behavior, policy implementation, and recognition systems that rewarded contributions to organizational improvement and strategic success rather than political convenience or operational expediency. Marcus Sullivan's response to these transformation initiatives revealed both his resistance to performance accountability and his recognition that the new leadership approach would require fundamental changes in his management style and operational priorities. His questions and comments demonstrated concern about the implications of increased performance expectations and systematic monitoring of management effectiveness that would eliminate many of the operational conveniences and political advantages that had characterized his previous authority within the organization. The board's reception of Sophia's strategic plan was overwhelmingly positive, as members recognized the comprehensive nature of her analysis and the practical feasibility of her improvement recommendations based on proven track record of successful implementations and measurable results. The detailed implementation timeline and performance metrics provided confidence that the transformation initiatives would generate tangible improvements while maintaining operational stability and client satisfaction during the transition period. The formal approval of the strategic transformation plan established clear expectations for management performance and organizational improvement while providing Sophia with authority and resources necessary for implementing comprehensive changes throughout the organization.
The board's support included specific performance targets and review schedules that would ensure accountability for achieving targeted outcomes while providing regular opportunities for assessment and strategic adjustment based on implementation experience and changing market conditions. The immediate aftermath of the board meeting included individual conversations between Sophia and senior managers regarding their roles and responsibilities within the transformed organization. These discussions provided opportunities for clarifying expectations, addressing concerns, and establishing collaborative relationships that would support effective implementation of improvement initiatives while maintaining professionalism and mutual respect despite previous conflicts and disagreements. Marcus Sullivan's individual meeting with Sophia represented the most significant and emotionally complex of these conversations, as both participants recognized the remarkable reversal of their professional relationship and the implications for his future career prospects within the organization. The discussion required careful navigation of interpersonal dynamics while maintaining focus on operational requirements and performance expectations that would determine his continued employment and advancement opportunities. Sophia's approach to this conversation emphasized professional accountability and organizational effectiveness rather than personal vindication or retaliation for previous treatment, demonstrating the leadership maturity and strategic thinking that had enabled her successful business development and team management. Her presentation of performance expectations and improvement requirements reflected objective assessment of operational needs rather than subjective reactions to past conflicts or personal grievances. Marcus's response to these performance discussions revealed his struggle to adapt to new accountability standards and collaborative management approaches that contrasted sharply with the hierarchical authority and operational control that had characterized his previous management style.
His attempts to justify previous decisions and deflect responsibility for performance problems demonstrated a defensive mindset and resistance to change that had contributed to many of the operational challenges requiring correction through the transformation initiatives. The establishment of clear performance metrics and regular review schedules provided structure for ongoing assessment of Marcus's adaptation to new leadership expectations while creating opportunities for improvement and professional development if he demonstrated willingness to modify his management approach and embrace collaborative problem-solving methodologies. The accountability framework emphasized measurable outcomes and stakeholder satisfaction rather than subjective evaluations or personal preferences, providing objective standards for determining his continued suitability for supervisory responsibilities. The implementation of technology infrastructure improvements proceeded rapidly as Quantum Security's analytics engineering team began installing and configuring advanced systems that would replace the outdated platforms that had been limiting Nexus's operational efficiency and competitive capabilities. The upgrade process included comprehensive testing and validation procedures that ensured reliable transition while maintaining continuity of client services and operational stability during the modernization period. The employee training programs that accompanied technology implementation provided opportunities for professional development and skill enhancement while building confidence in the new systems and procedures that would improve job performance and career advancement prospects. The training initiatives emphasized collaborative learning and mutual support rather than criticism of previous practices, creating positive atmosphere for organizational change while building enthusiasm for improved capabilities and opportunities. The client communication strategies that accompanied the transformation initiatives emphasized continuity of service quality while highlighting improvements in technology capabilities and operational effectiveness that would enhance their experience and satisfaction with Nexus services. The communication approach included regular updates, performance demonstrations, and feedback opportunities that maintained transparency and stakeholder engagement throughout the transition process while building confidence in the new leadership and strategic direction. The measurable improvements in operational performance that emerged during the first 6 months following the acquisition included significant enhancements in processing speed, accuracy rates, client satisfaction scores, and employee engagement metrics that validated the effectiveness of Sophia's transformation strategies while demonstrating the competitive advantages that could be achieved through superior technology and management practices.
The results exceeded both internal projections and industry benchmarks for organizational change initiatives, establishing credibility for continued improvement efforts and strategic expansion opportunities. The industry recognition that accompanied these performance improvements included coverage in financial technology publications, speaking opportunities at professional conferences, and consulting requests from other organizations seeking guidance for their own transformation initiatives. The positive publicity enhanced Nexus's reputation and competitive positioning while providing validation for Sophia's leadership capabilities and strategic vision that could support continued growth and market expansion. Marcus Sullivan's performance during the transformation period reflected ongoing struggle with adaptation to new accountability standards and collaborative management requirements despite access to training, coaching, and support resources that were designed to facilitate professional development and improvement. His continued resistance to performance feedback and reluctance to embrace collaborative problem-solving approaches created ongoing challenges for team effectiveness and operational efficiency within his areas of responsibility. The performance review process that occurred 9 months after the acquisition provided comprehensive assessment of Marcus's progress and contribution to organizational objectives, while considering the support and development opportunities that had been provided for facilitating his adaptation to new leadership expectations. The evaluation revealed persistent patterns of resistance to accountability and limited improvement in management effectiveness despite extensive coaching and professional development investments. The decision regarding Marcus's continued employment required careful consideration of organizational needs, performance standards, and fair treatment principles, while recognizing that effective transformation demanded management capabilities that aligned with strategic objectives and operational requirements. The discussion with Marcus regarding performance concerns and improvement requirements provided final opportunity for demonstrating commitment to professional development and organizational success. However, Marcus's response to this performance discussion revealed continued unwillingness to accept accountability for operational problems or embrace collaborative approaches to management and problem-solving that were essential for supporting organizational effectiveness and strategic success. His defensive attitude and resistance to feedback demonstrated fundamental incompatibility with the leadership culture and performance standards that were necessary for achieving transformation objectives and maintaining competitive positioning. The termination meeting that concluded Marcus Sullivan's employment at Nexus Financial Technologies represented the completion of a remarkable transformation in professional relationships and organizational dynamics that had begun with Sophia's dismissal for attitude problems less than 5 years earlier. The irony of the situation was not lost on either participant, as they recognized the complete reversal of their positions and the validation of technical expertise and professional integrity that had ultimately prevailed over operational convenience and political expediency. Sophia's handling of Marcus's termination demonstrated the professional maturity and leadership capabilities that had enabled her remarkable success in building quantum securities analytics while developing the strategic vision and management skills necessary for transforming underperforming organizations. Her approach emphasized organizational effectiveness and stakeholder benefit rather than personal satisfaction or vindication, reflecting the ethical principles and strategic thinking that had guided her career development and business achievements. The completion of the management transition at Nexus Financial Technologies enabled comprehensive implementation of transformation initiatives that had been constrained by resistance and operational obstacles during Marcus's tenure. The removal of these barriers accelerated progress toward strategic objectives while improving organizational culture and employee satisfaction through establishment of collaborative leadership practices and performance accountability systems that recognized and rewarded professional excellence and ethical behavior. The strategic positioning that emerged from the successful transformation of Nexus Financial Technologies established the combined organization as a market leader in financial technology innovation while demonstrating the competitive advantages that could be achieved through superior technical capabilities and effective management practices.
The measurable improvements in client satisfaction, operational efficiency, and financial performance provided compelling evidence of the value creation potential that existed through strategic application of advanced technology and collaborative leadership approaches. The industry impact of Sophia's remarkable career trajectory from terminated employee to successful CEO generated widespread recognition of the importance of technical expertise, professional integrity, and innovative thinking in achieving sustainable competitive advantages and organizational excellence. Her success story became a powerful example of how individual persistence and strategic thinking could overcome institutional barriers while creating positive change that benefited multiple stakeholder groups and contributed to industry advancement. The long-term implications of the Nexus transformation extended beyond individual career achievements to encompass broader questions about organizational culture, leadership effectiveness, and the relationship between technical innovation and business success in rapidly evolving industries. The measurable outcomes that resulted from implementing superior technology and management practices provided compelling evidence that sustainable competitive advantages required genuine commitment to excellence rather than operational convenience or political expedience. The security vulnerabilities and technical problems that Sophia had originally identified during her employment at Nexus were comprehensively addressed through implementation of advanced systems and procedures that exceeded industry standards for customer protection and regulatory compliance. The resolution of these issues vindicated her original concerns while demonstrating the importance of listening to technical experts and addressing legitimate professional recommendations, rather than dismissing them as attitude problems or operational obstacles. The cultural transformation that accompanied technological modernization created an organizational environment where technical excellence and professional integrity were genuinely valued and rewarded rather than simply advertised as marketing concepts or corporate values. The establishment of collaborative decision-making processes and performance accountability systems enabled talented employees to contribute effectively to organizational success while pursuing meaningful career development and professional satisfaction. The financial performance that resulted from comprehensive transformation initiatives exceeded projections for revenue growth, profit margins, and market share expansion, while establishing sustainable competitive advantages that could support continued success and strategic expansion opportunities. The return on investment for the acquisition and transformation process validated the strategic vision and implementation capabilities that had motivated the original transaction, while demonstrating the value creation potential that existed through effective leadership and strategic innovation. The personal satisfaction that Sophia experienced through achieving her strategic objectives extended beyond professional recognition and financial rewards to encompass the fulfillment that resulted from creating positive change for employees, clients, and industry stakeholders who benefited from improved technology, enhanced service quality, and more ethical business practices. Her transformation from terminated employee to successful CEO represented validation of the technical expertise and professional values that had guided her career development, while providing opportunities to implement innovations that addressed fundamental challenges in financial technology. The remarkable journey from dismissal for attitude problems to appointment as chief executive officer of the same organization demonstrated the power of persistence, strategic thinking, and commitment to excellence in overcoming institutional barriers and achieving ambitious professional objectives. The success story provided inspiration for other professionals facing similar challenges, while illustrating the importance of maintaining focus on long-term strategic goals rather than allowing temporary setbacks to compromise career aspirations or professional development initiatives. The establishment of Sophia Chen as a respected industry leader and successful technology entrepreneur created opportunities for continued innovation and strategic impact that extended beyond individual achievement to encompass broader contributions to industry advancement and social benefit through application of technology for solving complex problems and improving organizational effectiveness. Her leadership example demonstrated that technical expertise, combined with ethical responsibility and strategic vision, could create sustainable competitive advantages while generating positive outcomes for multiple stakeholder groups.
The transformation of Nexus Financial Technologies from an underperforming organization struggling with operational challenges and competitive pressure into a market-leading company recognized for innovation and excellence represented a comprehensive validation of the strategic approach and leadership capabilities that had enabled Sophia's remarkable career progression. The measurable improvements in all key performance indicators provided objective evidence of the value creation that resulted from implementing superior technology and management practices while maintaining commitment to ethical principles and stakeholder benefit. The industry recognition and professional respect that accompanied these achievements established Sophia as a thought leader and strategic advisor whose insights and recommendations were sought by other organizations seeking to achieve similar transformations and competitive improvements. Her speaking engagements, consulting opportunities, and board positions provided platforms for sharing knowledge and experience while contributing to broader advancement of best practices in technology leadership and organizational effectiveness. The long-term impact of her success story continued to influence industry discussions about leadership development, organizational culture, and the relationship between technical innovation and business success, while providing compelling evidence that sustainable competitive advantages required genuine commitment to excellence rather than superficial adherence to marketing concepts or political conveniences that prioritized short-term operational considerations over long-term strategic objectives and stakeholder benefit. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out.